For more on this, let's bring in producer Mick O'Shea, eyewitness to the earthquake. Mick, great having you. Please let me know about your experience.
Yeah, hi. I happened to be in a food court at a hospital in downtown Bangkok when the tremors hit. And initially I thought I may have been dizzy because the whole room seemed to be swaying, and actually it was. And then me and everyone else seemed to recognize that it was an earthquake. We rushed outside. And as I got outside, I noticed there was a lot of masonry and concrete falling off the high-rise buildings around me, which is obviously very dangerous. So I quickly ran across the road to a park across the street, as did hundreds of other people. And then I noticed that the hospital was being evacuated in a really rushed and a chaotic way. They were rushing out people on stretcher beds and wheelchairs. Obviously, people were thinking the building might collapse. And then I noticed that they must have run out of stretchers and wheelchairs because they started carrying people out by arms and legs and on people's backs. So I realised they could probably use a hand. So I ran into the hospital and helped rescue a lady in a wheelchair, bring her out and get her into the park across the street. And then when I went to go back in, the security wouldn't let me in because they wanted all the traffic to be one way. So I made my way back to the park. But along the way, I saw that there was like hundreds of sort of fist size or golf ball size pieces of concrete that had fallen off the high-rise buildings around me. And there was a car park there that had the whole front end smashed in. The windscreen was smashed in from all the rubble falling down. And I realised that, what I was seeing in the space of like 100 metres or so was probably happening all across the city because most of the buildings look pretty much the same. So the devastation seems to be very widespread.
Mick, out of your experience, did you get to see wounded people? Was this falling debris really injuring people around you?
I didn't actually see anyone with cuts myself, but I did speak with doctors. Like I hung out at the hospital for a while to see if I could help out. The doctors told me that just in the evacuation of their hospital, there was 2 people who had heart attacks, because they're bringing people in a rushed way out of ICU units and things like that. And they said that there were a number of lacerations and things, but I personally didn't see the people getting hit by the debris. But clearly, with the amount that was around, people must have been getting hit here and there.
And did the hospital finally resume operations, or is it still out in the park?
I stayed there for about 3 hours, and they were planning to keep everyone in the makeshift facilities overnight. So there was like some single-story buildings across the street from the hospital. It was part of a palace complex for the king. So they opened that up to the hospital patients, and there was hundreds of them jammed into these makeshift buildings. So I believe they may have signed off the building to be safe later in the evening, and some of those people would have gone back to their wards. But when I left, everyone was still in the makeshift buildings.
Well, and how is the hospital, the government, and people functioning after all this and where you are?
I mean, I think that the response was pretty good. Like, very quickly, while I was there, the army sort of came in. There's a whole, hundreds of army cadets showed up, and they were helping to move all the patients around and keep them cool and comfortable. And, I think the hospital staff seemed to be doing a great job under very difficult circumstances. So I think everyone was rallying and doing their best. But it's obviously just really challenging circumstances because no one's really prepared to instantly evacuate a hospital of 1,000 people in like 10 minutes. So it's a bit chaotic.
And Mick, what's your situation right now? Do you have food? Do you have water? How is getting around and surviving in where you are right now?
I mean, it's not too bad, but what I have noticed, like just going through my condo building, it's a high-rise, about 32 stories, is every corridor and every time I look up at the ceiling and the walls, there's cracks everywhere. And obviously, you can only see the superficial cracks in a structure like this, but I think with the extensive superficial cracking that I can see everywhere, and I've been through 2 condo buildings since the earthquake, there must be extensive structural damage that can only really be revealed when you pull off the facade and look deeper into what's happened behind. So I think the issue of assessing how widespread the damage actually is structurally is going to take quite a while. Because, I mean, assuming that most buildings are similar to the one that I'm in right now, which is a new, well-built building, the damage is really extensive.
Cracks become especially scary when there are strong aftershocks. Have you experienced this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there has been quite a few aftershocks, but just mild, because I think we're far enough away here in Bangkok. But I have seen statistics that there's been dozens of aftershocks already.
Okay, but where you are, you're safe, right?
I think it's safe enough. Yeah, as long as I wouldn't like there to be many more like the one yesterday.
Uh, do you see, you're in the capital of the country, do you see, life going back to normal anytime soon? How do you see that moving forward?
Yeah, I think the people here are very resilient. Like what was interesting is the food court that I was in, which got evacuated, the whole hospital got evacuated, but all the food sellers were back in there within about 20 minutes reselling their noodles and getting on with life. So they're very resilient. I think most people pick up and carry on here quite quickly.
Okay, that's great. How do you see the country responding right now? Because different parts of the country must have been affected differently, and we're not even talking about Myanmar, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're roughly 1,000 kilometres from the epicenter here. So, as you get closer to the epicenter, the damage must be worse. And going by what's happened here, the international airports were shut yesterday. All of the public infrastructure like SkyTrains and underground networks were all shut. So the infrastructural delays in people moving around and such must be very significant. But I don't really have my finger on the pulse of where all that is at the moment.
Mick O'Shea, thank you very much. Stay safe. Good luck.